Have you ever wondered why some women effortlessly capture a man's attention and keep it, while others feel like they're always chasing, guessing, or losing his interest too soon? What if I told you that the difference isn't about beauty, style, or how perfectly you text back? It's something far more powerful. It's psychology. There are silent, subconscious triggers that melt a man's mind and emotionally imprint you into his thoughts without you having to play games or pretend to be someone else. And most women don't even realize these triggers exist. They're not loud, they're not obvious, but when you activate them, you can create the kind of magnetic pull that lingers with him long after the conversation ends. This isn't about manipulation. This is about understanding the hidden science of attraction, the unspoken signals that tell his brain, she's unforgettable, signals that make him lean in, chase harder, think deeper, and feel like you're different from every other woman he's met. In this video, I'm going to break down 9 psychological turn-ons that most women completely overlook, but that men feel instantly, almost like a silent emotional hit they can't shake. These are backed by behavioral science, emotional wiring, and real-world relationship psychology, not just surface-level advice. And here's the best part: you can start using them today in a way that feels natural, authentic, and empowering. No games, no acting, just subtle shifts that can change the way he sees you forever. So if you're tired of guessing what actually attracts a man on a deep level, stay with me. Because once you understand this, you won't have to chase his attention ever again. It will find you. Let's dive in. When it comes to what melts a man's mind, most people talk about confidence, but very few understand the type of confidence that actually triggers deep, lasting attraction. It's not about being loud, overly assertive, or pretending to be flawless. The confidence that captivates a man is something lighter, softer, and far more magnetic. It's what I call playful confidence, and it works on a psychological level. Men can't resist. Playful confidence is when you know your worth, but you don't take yourself too seriously. It's when you can tease him, laugh at your own little mistakes, stay light even when you feel butterflies, and let your natural charm shine without trying to control how he sees you. This is what creates the irresistible vibe of being both secure and approachable at the same time. Men are subconsciously drawn to women who radiate this energy because it feels safe and exciting all at once. A woman who is playfully confident doesn't chase, doesn't overthink, and doesn't fall apart if things don't go perfectly. She trusts herself. She enjoys the moment. She gives him room to chase her because she's not desperate for his approval. You see, most women confuse confidence with constant strength. Like you have to always look perfect, say the right thing, and keep total control. But that kind of energy can actually make a man feel pressured or distant. Playful confidence is different. It's softer. It says, I'm good with me, but I'm also here to have fun, to connect, to enjoy this without making it heavy. When a woman is playfully confident, she'll smile when he tries to impress her, she'll laugh when something awkward happens, and she won't be afraid to challenge him in a fun, flirty way. That's the key. She knows she's valuable, but she doesn't need to prove it. Psychologically, this creates what's known as emotional comfort with excitement. A sweet spot where a man feels like he can be himself around you, but he's still intrigued. You become his safe place and his spark at the same time. That's the combination that drives a man's mind crazy in the best way. It also signals to him that you're emotionally independent. You're not chasing him to fill a void. You're not auditioning for his approval. You're choosing to engage with him because you enjoy it, not because you need it. This flips a psychological switch in a man's brain. Instead of seeing you as someone who needs to be impressed, he starts seeing you as someone he wants to impress. He wants to keep your attention. He wants to step up. He's no longer chasing validation. He's chasing you. And what's even more beautiful, playful confidence is not something you fake. It grows the moment you start trusting that you are enough, that your lightness is powerful, that your laughter, your natural vibe, your willingness to have fun and not overanalyze everything, that's what stays with him. It's not about perfection. It's about presence. It's about feeling good in your own skin and letting that energy invite him in. When you embrace playful confidence, you don't just melt his mind. You make him feel like he's finally met someone real, someone refreshing, someone unforgettable. One of the deepest psychological turn-ons that most women overlook is something incredibly simple, yet profoundly rare. It's called emotional curiosity. The ability to make a man feel truly seen. And I'm not talking about asking him surface-level questions like what he does for work or what his favorite movie is. I'm talking about the kind of curiosity that cuts past the surface and touches his core. When a woman is emotionally curious, she's not just listening to reply. She's listening to understand. She pays attention to the subtle shifts in his energy. When he talks about his passions, his challenges, or the things that quietly matter to him. And instead of glossing over them, she leans in. She wants to know more. She makes him feel like his thoughts, his feelings, his story, they're worth exploring. Here's the secret most people don't realize. Men are rarely asked about their inner world. They're expected to be strong, to stay light, to keep things on the surface. So when a woman comes along who genuinely wants to understand what's underneath his confidence, his dreams, his worries, his unspoken fears, it catches him completely off guard in the best possible way. Emotional curiosity isn't just about asking questions. It's about making space. It's the energy that says, you don't have to perform for me. I actually want to know you. When a man feels this, it disarms him. It melts his defenses, and it starts building an emotional connection that most men don't even realize they crave until it happens. What's powerful about this turn-on is that it taps into a man's deeper emotional need to feel accepted, not just for his strengths, but for his complexities, his flaws, his contradictions. When you show genuine interest in who he is beyond the surface, you invite him to open up in a way he rarely does with anyone else. And here's the beauty of it. When a man feels seen by you, he naturally starts seeing you differently too. He stops seeing you as just another person he's talking to. You become someone he emotionally trusts, someone who makes him feel safe enough to be real. That's the foundation of attraction that lasts. It's not about being perfect or saying the right thing. It's about asking, why does that matter to you? Or how did that experience shape you? Or even just softly saying, tell me more. Those little moments of curiosity open doors in his heart that he didn't even know were locked. And when you approach him this way, without judgment, without rushing, without an agenda, you become unforgettable. You're no longer just the woman he's attracted to. You become the person he thinks about at random moments, the one who made him feel more understood, more valued, more connected than anyone else. Because in the end, emotional curiosity isn't just a turn-on, it's an invitation. An invitation to be fully seen and fully accepted. And for a man who's used to hiding parts of himself, that's the most magnetic thing you can ever offer. One of the most powerful, yet often misunderstood, psychological turn-ons for men is something many women have been conditioned to suppress. It's called unapologetic femininity, and it's not about fitting into outdated gender roles or playing into cliches. It's about fully embodying the soft, radiant, emotional energy that naturally flows from you when you're not afraid to just be. Unapologetic femininity is when you walk in your softness without shrinking. When you express warmth, compassion, vulnerability, intuition, creativity, without filtering, without hardening yourself to be more acceptable, and without worrying that being gentle somehow makes you weak. The truth is, most men are not consciously chasing this energy, but when they feel it, they are undeniably pulled toward it. In today's world where women are often pushed to prove themselves, compete, and constantly hustle, many have been taught to dim their feminine essence just to feel safe or respected. But here's the irony. What melts a man's mind is not the woman who tries to be harder, faster, or tougher than him. It's the woman who stands strong in her softness. The woman who can be deeply kind and fiercely herself at the same time. When a man experiences this unapologetic feminine energy, something shifts in him psychologically. It activates his instinct to protect, to cherish, to lean in closer, not because you need him, but because your presence inspires him. Femininity creates a magnetic contrast that awakens something primal and beautiful in men. The desire to step up, to hold space, to pursue with intention. And what's key here is that this isn't performative femininity. It's not about dressing a certain way or speaking with a certain tone. It's about how you carry your energy. It's about being soft without apologizing for it, being nurturing without overgiving, being emotionally open while still holding your own boundaries. A woman who is unapologetically feminine is not passive. She's powerful. But her power doesn't need to compete. It doesn't need to control. It simply is. It's the power of emotional intelligence, of subtle influence, of creating space where people feel safe to connect more deep. It's the power of being fully present, fully expressive, and fully comfortable in your own skin. This kind of energy can melt a man's mind because it gives him something most people don't, a chance to relax into his masculine energy without feeling like he's in a constant battle for control. And when he feels that, he's hooked. He doesn't just feel attracted to you, he feels drawn to you in a way he can't explain. Unapologetic femininity is the freedom to embrace the emotional, intuitive, radiant parts of yourself without guilt, without filters, and without fear of judgment. It's the freedom to know that your softness doesn't make you small, it makes you unforgettable. And when you stand in that truth, that's when you become the woman who doesn't chase attention. You naturally attract it, because the energy you're radiating is rare, captivating, and impossible to replace. There's something incredibly powerful about a woman who knows when to be silent. Not because she doesn't have anything to say, but because she understands that mystery lives in the pause. The space you leave, the words you don't rush to fill, can create a psychological pull that most women overlook. You see, most people think attraction is built by constant conversation, rapid-fire texts, and always having the perfect response. But the truth is, what melts a man's mind is space. The moments of silence where his curiosity grows, the pauses that invite him to lean in instead of pull back. This is what I call the art of pausing. It's not about playing games or withholding on purpose. It's about feeling so at peace with yourself that you don't need to over-explain, overshare, or overcompensate. You're not afraid of letting things breathe. When you master the art of pausing, you create an emotional rhythm that feels magnetic. You answer a question, and you let your words land. You send a thoughtful message, and you wait without panic. You smile when he teases you, and you hold his gaze without rushing to fill the silence. That pause, that subtle moment where he's left wondering what you're thinking, what you're feeling, that's what ignites intrigue in his mind. Men are wired to be curious. When everything is handed to them immediately, the mystery dies quickly. But when a woman gives just enough, when she shares beautifully but holds something back, not in a manipulative way but in a natural, grounded way, it creates a psychological space where his fascination begins to grow. Mysterious silence doesn't mean being distant or cold. It's the quiet confidence that says, I'm fully here, but I don't need to rush to prove myself. It's the ability to be comfortable in the moments when the conversation fades, not because you're disinterested, but because you're secure enough to let things unfold in their own time. When you speak with presence and pause with purpose, you give a man the opportunity to feel like he's chasing you emotionally, even in the smallest moments. The pause invites him to invest, to wonder, to pursue, to feel like he's slowly discovering you instead of instantly having you all figured out. And here's the beauty of it. When a man feels that sense of discovery, he becomes more engaged. He starts paying closer attention. He starts craving those little moments of connection because they feel earned, not handed over. When you embody this, you create an atmosphere around you that feels rare, like he can't quite put his finger on you and he doesn't want to stop trying. And that's the space where deep psychological attraction quietly builds. So don't be afraid of silence. Don't rush to fill every moment. Sometimes the most captivating thing you can do is pause and let him feel the pull of your mysterious stillness. Because in that space, you become unforgettable. There's something that speaks louder than words, stronger than touch, and deeper than anything you can physically offer. It's eye contact. But not just casual glances or polite social cues. I'm talking about deep eye contact, the kind that holds him, pulls him in, and lingers in his mind long after you've looked away. Most people underestimate just how powerful this is. When you look into someone's eyes with full presence, you create an invisible emotional thread. It's as if, for those few seconds, there's no one else in the room. No noise, no distractions, just a magnetic connection between two people who are fully seeing each other. Deep eye contact is a psychological turn-on for men because it taps into their desire to be chosen, to be acknowledged, and to be seen in a way that feels personal. It's more than attraction, it's recognition. When a woman looks at a man, not through him, not past him, but into him, it hits differently. It disarms him. It quiets his mind. It ignites curiosity. He'll feel something in that split second that words could never deliver. But here's the thing. Deep eye contact isn't about staring. It's about being present. It's about softening your gaze, being fully in the moment, and letting him feel that you're not thinking about what to say next. You're simply there with him, seeing him and allowing him to see you. When you do this, your energy shifts. You stop performing, you stop chasing. You invite him to step closer emotionally because you're communicating without words. I see you. I'm not afraid to meet you here. That kind of gaze lingers in his mind. It makes him remember you in the quiet hours when he's alone. It makes him wonder why you feel different from everyone else. It creates emotional intimacy without even touching him. And that's what melts a man's mind. Psychologically, eye contact triggers something called the intimacy effect. The longer two people hold eye contact, the stronger their emotional bond feels, even if they've only just met. Eye contact can slow down time. It can make a moment feel stretched, electric, unforgettable. And when you hold that gaze just a heartbeat longer than expected, it gives him something to chase. Not your attention, but the feeling you give him when your eyes meet. What's beautiful about this is that you don't need to plan it. You don't need to fake it. You simply need to stop rushing. Look, be still. Let your eyes communicate what your words don't need to say. Sometimes the most powerful message you can send a man is the one you send with your eyes. You're safe to be here. I'm here with you. And in that stillness, in that brief, powerful connection, you create a memory, one that sticks, one that pulls him back to you again and again, because he won't find that depth of presence everywhere. So when you look at him, really look and let him feel you, because sometimes one glance can be louder than 1,000 words. There's something truly magnetic about a woman's authentic laughter, the kind that's unfiltered, effortless, and completely real. It's one of the most underestimated psychological turn-ons, yet it has the power to completely disarm a man, pull him closer, and create a connection that sticks in his memory far longer than you think. Men are naturally drawn to women who can genuinely laugh, not because she's trying to impress him, not because she's forcing the moment, but because she's fully present and fully enjoying herself. Authentic laughter is rare in a world where so many people are guarded, cautious, or performing to be accepted. But when your laughter is real, when it bubbles out of you without hesitation, it becomes something deeply attractive to a man. Not just because it shows happiness, but because it shows freedom. Laughter signals comfort. It signals that you're not overthinking. You're not trapped in your head worrying about every word or how you're being perceived. You're allowing yourself to feel good in the moment. And that's what melts a man's mind. It's not just the sound of your laugh, it's what your laughter represents. It represents emotional safety, natural chemistry, and a lightness that most men crave more than they realize. When you can laugh with a man, it tells him you're open, you're approachable, you're someone he can let his guard down with. And that's everything. Because most men walk through the world wearing a kind of invisible, emotional armor. They're taught to be serious, to be strong, to always have it together. But when they're with a woman who laughs easily, who genuinely finds joy in the small, silly moments, something in that armor softens. Authentic laughter is also incredibly grounding. It shifts both of you out of your heads and into your bodies. It creates a shared energy that's hard to manufacture. And what's even more powerful, it makes him feel good. When a man makes you laugh, when he feels like he can be the source of your joy, it creates a subconscious reward loop in his brain. He starts associating you with feeling good, and that's a bond that's hard to break. But here's the key. It has to be real. Forced laughter feels hollow. Polite laughter feels distant. But when your laughter is genuine, when it surprises even you, that's what resonates. That's what sticks. And it's something he'll replay in his mind when he thinks about you. When you lean into your authentic laughter, you become the kind of woman men feel emotionally safe with, the kind of woman they want to be around. Because in your laughter, they find release. They find lightness. They find something that feels refreshing in a world that can sometimes feel heavy. So let yourself laugh. Laugh fully. Laugh loudly. Let him see you in that open, joyful state. Because nothing is more attractive than a woman who feels good being exactly who she is. And sometimes the sound of your real, beautiful laughter is the moment that captures his heart without you even realizing it. One of the most irresistible psychological turn-ons is something I call the soft challenge. It's the rare balance of being genuinely sweet, kind, and emotionally open, while still being just a little bit unavailable. And it's that tension that quietly drives a man crazy. You see, most people think you either have to be warm and fully available, or you have to be distant and cold to keep his attention. But the truth is, the most magnetic energy happens right in the middle. It's when you're sweet, present, and playful with him, but your life is still full. You have your own goals, your own happiness, your own energy, and you're not sitting by the phone waiting for him to fill your time. This soft challenge tells a man, you can have access to me, but you can't have all of me unless you earn it. And that psychologically is incredibly attractive. It makes him feel like your time and your presence are valuable. It invites him to chase you, not because you're withholding, but because you clearly love your life, whether he's in it or not. Being sweet yet unavailable is not a game. It's not about pretending to be busy. It's about actually living fully. When you do this, your energy changes. You stop chasing. You stop overgiving. You meet him halfway and let him meet you there too. That softness combined with your independence is what creates the emotional spark that men find unforgettable. When a man feels that you're both kind and self-fulfilled, he leans in. He wants to impress you, to earn more of your time, to step into your world, not just pull you into his. That's the soft challenge. A woman who is sweet enough to open the door but unavailable enough to make him realize he has to step up to walk through it. And that balance is exactly what keeps you on his mind. One of the most powerful psychological turn-ons that quietly melts a man's mind is when a woman can show vulnerability with boundaries. It's this beautiful emotional combination that tells him, you can see my heart, but you can't walk all over it. And that balance is incredibly rare. Many people think vulnerability means you have to be wide open all the time, sharing everything, giving unlimited access. But true vulnerability isn't about exposing yourself to anyone. It's about carefully choosing who gets to see the real you. It's about showing your softness without abandoning your self-respect. When you can say, this is how I feel, or this is what scares me, or this is something I'm still working through, you create intimacy. You invite him closer. You let him see the real, unpolished version of you, and that's magnetic. Men crave emotional depth more than they know. But what keeps them captivated is when that openness is paired with clear standards. It's when you can be honest about your emotions, but still hold the line about what you deserve. You can say, I care about you, but I won't tolerate being treated like an option. You can be gentle and still walk away when something doesn't align with your work. This is what melts a man's mind. He feels trusted enough to see the parts of you that are soft, but he also knows he can't take you for granted. That dual energy makes him feel safe and challenged at the same time. Vulnerability with boundaries makes you unforgettable because it shows emotional courage. It shows you're not hiding who you are, but you're also not available to people who can't show up properly. It creates the emotional space where he feels inspired to step up, not out of fear, but out of genuine respect and admiration for you. That's the woman he remembers. That's the woman who changes the way he loves. One of the most underrated but deeply magnetic psychological turn-ons for men is when a woman becomes a safe emotional space. And this isn't about fixing him, carrying his emotional weight, or becoming his therapist. It's about creating an energy where he feels like he can breathe around you, where he can drop his guard, even if just for a moment. Most men walk through life holding a kind of silent pressure. They're expected to be strong, composed, and unemotional. They often don't feel safe expressing vulnerability with most people. But when a man meets a woman who makes him feel emotionally safe, not judged, not rushed, not criticized, something inside of him quietly melts. Being a safe emotional space doesn't mean you have to solve his problems. It simply means you listen without trying to control his feeling. You allow him to be seen in his full humanity, his confidence, his flaws, his doubts, without pulling away, without making him feel small for having emotions. This energy tells him, you don't have to perform for me. You can be real here. And that is so rare. When a man feels that kind of acceptance, his attraction to you deepens in a way he can't logically explain. It's not about surface level chemistry anymore. It's about trust, about emotional security, about finally finding someone who feels like home. But here's the beautiful balance. You can be that safe space without losing your own boundaries. You can hold space for him without sacrificing your own emotional needs. You can offer comfort without tolerating disrespect. That's what makes it powerful. You're strong enough to offer softness, but wise enough to protect your own peace. When you embody this energy, you become unforgettable. You become the woman who doesn't just attract him. You heal something in him. You offer connection that feels calming, grounding, and rare. And when a man feels that with you, he doesn't just want you, he values you. And that's the kind of connection that lasts. If you've made it this far, you already know that making a man crave you isn't about chasing him, changing yourself, or playing exhausting games. It's about leaning into the psychological triggers that naturally draw him in, things that make him feel seen, challenged, inspired, and safe all at the same time. And the truth is, you don't need to beg for his attention when you understand how to quietly own your presence. Men crave what they can feel, but can't fully control. They crave women who bring warmth, but still hold their own space. They crave women who can laugh, who can pause, who can leave just enough mystery to keep him wanting more. And most of all, they crave women who are comfortable with who they are, because that comfort is magnetic. When you become the woman who understands playful confidence, who makes him feel emotionally safe, who shows vulnerability without abandoning her boundaries, you're not chasing his validation anymore. You're giving him the opportunity to earn more of you. That's what flips the dynamic. That's what makes you unforgettable. The secret is to stop trying to make him crave you, and instead focus on being fully aligned with yourself. When you do that, your energy changes. You become the woman who naturally creates emotional impact. You become the woman who stays on his mind, not because you forced your way there, but because you gave him something that no one else does. A feeling of curiosity, excitement, comfort, and genuine connection. So here's your reminder. Your softness is powerful. Your boundaries are attractive, and your presence is enough. The more you trust that, the more he'll feel drawn to you in ways even he won't fully understand. You don't need to perform. You don't need to change. You just need to be, and the right man will crave exactly that.